Okay, you're now at this point here. Can you all ensure that you have the dashboard set up like that, and your macros? You've got January set up like that, you've got February set up like that, you've got March set up like that, you've got April set up like that, you've got tax and profit sorted out there, and you've got staff hours here. Make sure those things are in place before you go any further. If you need to, just go back to the video a little bit here and pause just to check that you've got those things. I'm going to enter some data into here, which I want you to put in. Before you do so though, look at the data, look at the things that we've done previously, and see how quickly and easily you can do it, rather than just blindly copying everything in bit by bit. How do you enter that data as fast as possible? Some suggestions are, you can put the first two dates in, and you need to put the first two dates in. This is called seeding, so that the program knows what to do, and you can drag then along there, and that will automatically fill the rest of the dates out. Not so useful here where you've only got a few, but if you had a whole year to do, very useful. How about if you know they've got 30 hours a week that they're doing, filling out all the 30s, 37 and a half, fill one row 37 and a half out, then copy it and paste it into the rest of them, and then just take off the bits that are changed. So do that as quickly as possible and pause the video while you do it, so that you can have the time just to get that in. Once you've put all that information in, then start playing again. Okay, once you've done that, we're going to identify the number of weeks that this is measured over, and to do that we're going to use the COUNTIF function. So if you go to function and either search down this list for COUNTIF, or go to all and look for COUNTIF. Once you find it, select it, click OK. The range, well, we're going to count that lot there. It seems fairly obvious, but and we want it to identify or count cells that have something in them. So that symbol there will look for cells only that contain something, and we can say there are 5. That's particularly useful again when you're dealing with a lot of data, and it might change, so that keeps a dynamic count of what's happening. Using that, let's just centralize that because it'd be nicer. Using that, we can now work out how many hours a worker should have worked. So we'll put in an actual hours and contract hours. So how many hours they should have worked. So how many hours they've actually done, and how many hours they should have done. This one obviously equals, well, we can actually auto sum and auto sum that range, so you're selecting the range that it's going to be, and if we drag that down, dink, we can see that it's added those up exactly right. And contract hours is equals, always use equals when you're starting to do this, that times, so pressing the times, and then the hours per week that they're contracted for. That gives us 155. So let's get in how many hours they were missing, which obviously is going to equal the hours that they're supposed to do minus the hours that they've actually done. Now we can see here that the worst one's Francois, who has been missing 32 hours out of a possible 187. That's relatively useful because we can start to work out or build up a trend of people who are not attending, not doing the job properly, that sort of stuff. So you're starting to get some information the business can use there. Now we can see in the case of Francois that he missed 32 hours in 1 week, but has generally had a pretty good record otherwise, so the business could take that into consideration. If he'd had 5 hours missing one week, 10 hours another, 5 hours another, 10 hours. That's kind of then suggesting that somebody is swinging the lead and not doing what they're supposed to do. In this case, that flags up a warning, but certainly we can see it's all in 1 week. He was probably quite poorly 1 week. The other thing that we can do in here is put in some conditional formatting, as we've done previously. A new rule, and format cells only is greater than, and we'll say it's greater than 0 because we want to know if it's greater than 0. And we're going to format that in red so it'll stand out really well, and then we'll copy that down, and we can see very instantly, very clearly, who's got hours missing, and go through the process we've discussed. From here, let's go to the next sheet, and I would like you to rename this sheet Productivity. Productivity means how productive somebody is compared to how long they're there for. So if you have someone who works 1 hour and earns £1,000 for the company, compared to someone who works 10 hours and earns £1,000, the person who's only there for an hour and earns 1,000 is a lot more productive. Productivity. Let's take our staff and we'll copy that from the page before, put it into productivity and paste it in. Expand the column so we can see. What we're going to do is we're going to take their actual hours worked, which are these hours here. Now we're not going to copy those and paste them all the time because it might change dynamically. So what we're going to do is we're going to say that equals, go to the staff hour page, click on the first one, and that will appear there. Now because these are sequential, we can use relative referencing and drag them down. And put hours worked in there. Okay, we're rocking. What we now need to do for productivity is know how much those people have earned the company. And how we do that is by looking at their individual earnings from each of these pages and adding them together. So let's say earnings as a new title. We're going to say equals for John that. I'm going to say plus that plus that plus that, and press enter, and we can see John's earned £1,295, and if we drag that down, that should give us the earnings for everybody. Let's format it appropriately so that it's in currency, so we can see it's money. So how do we work out the productivity of each person, or how much they earn per hour? Well, very easily. Earnings per hour. Let's just open that up so we can see it. Would be nice to have the English correct and just put the capital E in there. Earnings per hour is simply going to be equals the amount they've earned divided by the number of hours that they've done to earn that. So we can see John is earning £8.93 an hour, compared to someone like David, who's earning £64 an hour for the company. When would you use this information, and how would you use it, and where would it be most relevant? Those are things that the spreadsheet is created to do and help you make those decisions. So think about that. Why would we want to know how much somebody earns per hour? What benefit is that to the company? Don't instantly go for the SAC version, because actually what John might need is, maybe John's a new member of staff, maybe John needs training, maybe John has other issues, so let's go to the guy. I mean, Gwen is not doing particularly well either on the amount of hours that she works, so what's the problem there? It's an information tool, not just something to go and beat people over the head with at this stage. Okay, go back to your staff hours. Okay, go back to your staff hours, and in staff hours we want to identify the percentage attendance of each member of staff. So we'll put that in there. So we have attendance, percentage attendance. Now percentage attendance is calculated by putting an equals in there, and it's their actual hours divided by their contract hours times 100, because it is a percentage, so it's that out of 100. If we press enter, we will find that John's attendance is, say John there, John's attendance is 96.666666. Again, bit of a foolish number. Let's drag that down, so we've copied them down, format the cells, oops, don't format it as percentage, just format it as a number. Sorry, my problem. To 2 decimal places, and now we can see people who've got 82, 85, 96%, 86%, 96% attendance. We're going to use some of these data details in a staff dashboard that we're going to create, which will have graphs on how the staff are achieving, so that someone can instantly come and have a look at it. Now to do that, we're going to change the name of the dashboard here. So we've got the dashboard, and rename that sales dashboard. I'll press enter and go to sheet 6 and rename that to staff dashboard, and that's done there. Now grab hold of that and drag it all the way up here. You can see the little black arrow that moves along as you move it there, so just make sure it's in that position there.